I'm Danny Jaffe with UK Public Relations, and today we have UK Police Chief Joe Monroe here to answer some questions about campus safety with us. Chief, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Danny. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, first, can you walk us through kind of how safety is built into our campus and particularly around residence halls here at UK?
So, we have some of the safest residence halls in the SEC, if not the country. And we've done that over the years through a layered approach. So SEPTED, which is a standard that we follow, is allowed us to start from the inside with the door locks on the individual rooms, and then we go back to the elevators. The elevators to the floors have to have a card swipe. And then you go even further, you have to have it as you get into the building. And then the residence hall staff will also ask you to badge in.
Okay, yeah. So how does that extend beyond residence hall too? How does the layered approach really look there?
So what we've done even outside is we've increased our security with cameras, and we've added some mobile precinct locations. We've also contracted with a third-party security company, Allied Universal. And with that, we are putting more security officers walking the residence hall exteriors to make sure that we are providing that extra layer of security.
Okay, great. So how does the technology piece and that security piece work day to day, maybe with staff from Res Life or Student Success?
So one of the things that we've been able to do is we have, at the request of the Res Life staff working at front desk, they wanted to be able to see cameras because they knew students were trying to bring people in through the back doors. They would prop a door open or something. So we've put alarms on those doors. We have also put cameras so they can see it from the front desk now. So each residence hall has an iPad, and they can see the cameras on that iPad, and they can even isolate it to one view if they need to. So we've given them a lot of technology as well. We're even testing new technology as we go. So the future of res hall security is unlimited. And so we keep exploring different technologies. One of them we're doing right now is to stop the tailgating, where people are following people in and not badging in. So we're working on that, utilizing some technology called Alcatraz AI. And what it is, it's a facial authentication. So you register that you're a resident of that res hall, and then as you come in, it recognizes you and lets the front desk know, hey, this person is permitted in here. Then if somebody's coming in behind them who's not permitted, it will send off a flashing or alarm.
Okay, cool. So it sounds like you do a lot of evaluating around what our current systems are. What does that kind of look like?
Yeah, so with this Alcatraz AI project, we did that in one residence hall, and we're testing it over the first school year. And we have good success with it, then we'll look at implementing it elsewhere. But we're also looking at it from different, what else can we put into the res halls to help make sure people are checking in or badging in, and making sure that we're utilizing all technology that's out there to help keep our residence halls even safer than they are.
That's great. I kind of want to shift into how we report certain crimes on campus. Sometimes when we send out crime bulletins or UK alerts, or we have our crime log even, it can maybe scare some students or families. And so I want to talk a little bit about why we're required to share certain types of information and the Clery Act. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So the Jean Clery Act was something that came out of Lehigh University after Jean Clery was murdered. And so the problem is at that time she was enrolled at Lehigh. They didn't publish crime statistics. And her parents said that they never would have sent her there if the crime statistics had been published. So that's one of the things we are very big on, is making sure that we comply with the Clery Act by publishing probably more than we need to about some of the crimes. We make sure everything is put onto our daily crime log. And then when we have to send out alerts, we make sure that we're sending out alerts that, and there's two different types really. There's what we call the UK alert. The UK alert is something that requires immediate action by somebody because there's an imminent threat on campus or approaching campus. and it could be something that occurred off campus, but we feel like it's a threat to the campus environment. And then the other piece to that is a crime bulletin. A crime bulletin is something that we send out and post. We send out the emails, we post them in different areas, and what they do is they give just a brief synopsis of what the crime is, where it occurred, and it lets people know. So we're very, doing our best to make sure that we are very transparent with everything.
And that's a requirement for all universities that receive federal funding, correct?
Yeah, so every university in the country, college or university, if they receive any type of federal funding, financial aid, those type of things, that means that they have to comply with the Clery Act.
Got it. So how should students, when they maybe receive a crime bulletin in their email, how should they interpret that information, and what should they do with that information?
Well, a lot of times, and I think here's one of the misconceptions, is we don't have stranger sexual assaults on this campus. I've been here 34 years, and I think maybe one time in 34 years it was a stranger. These are all known offenders. And so what we try to do is when we put out our crime bulletin is we'll say it's a known suspect. And so when you see that it's known suspect, that means we know who the individual is. It could be a student or a non-student, but we know who it is. And then we try to make sure that we provide the victim or the survivor some anonymity. And with that, we want to make sure that they are not being identified specifically. So we try to be more generic. And I know that frustrates some people. And that's because we're trying to protect them. So that's an important thing to think about as well. And of course, the most important thing is read it and pay attention. A lot of them don't pay attention to the emails that come out. Half of them probably pay attention to the alerts. The parents probably pay attention more than the students do.
Yeah. So when maybe rumors circulate around some of those alerts that are sent out, or those crime bulletins that are sent out, or even around residence hall safety in general, what's most often being misunderstood?
Yeah, and I think rumors start because somebody presumes something or assumes something, and they're not getting the true facts. And sometimes we can't tell the whole thing because it may be an ongoing investigation, but we're going to be transparent as possible. And so rumors can get out of control very quickly. And the one thing I've always encouraged parents when I meet with the parent groups is, hey, if you hear a rumor, contact me. You contact our office and we'll make sure that we give you the true facts as much as we can tell you. So one of the things about rumors is I would really caution people believing what you see or hear and how you interpret it. If you're not for sure, then come ask us. We are very transparent and we will give you as much information as we can.
How would you describe the university's responsibility to student safety?
It's student safety on the University of Kentucky campus is number one priority. It comes from the top down with Dr. Capilouto. He stresses it all the time that safety of our students and our staff are our number one goals.
What does it mean to you as chief to balance transparency with reassuring our community that it is safe here?
Yeah, and that's a very hard challenge sometimes because, as I said earlier, you can't always share specific facts, but it's so important to make sure that you're being transparent, whether it's on the web page or the crime log or a briefing that I do on a regular basis. Any of this type of stuff is important. And we've discussed before how we need to look better on how we can be even more transparent by doing podcasts or YouTube or something. So we're exploring all these options that are available to really try to think about how could we be even more transparent and share more information than people having to come to us.
You often say that safety is a shared responsibility. So what would you say to our community about the role that they play alongside the role that you play in keeping our campus safe?
You know, I say it a lot, you're right. And that's something we have to think about as a shared responsibility. So your own personal safety, if you weren't even on campus, who is protecting you? It's yourself, you know. And so we are here to help you, and we're here to add that extra layer of protection. And so what I mean by it being a shared responsibility, if you see something that doesn't look right, it gives you that heebie-jeebie feeling, so to speak, or gives you the goosebumps, those are the ones you want to call and report. And don't be afraid to report something. We'll go check it out, and if it's nothing, it's not a big deal. We'd rather know ahead of time before something escalates. And then making sure you're downloaded the SafeZone app. Make sure that you are aware of your surroundings. Taking some of our awareness programs or defense programs. All those different types of things is part of a shared responsibility package. You can't strictly rely on a police department anywhere to provide your protection. You can't think a security guard is going to be that extra layer of protection all the time. These are just added benefits to being aware of your surroundings and having that shared responsibility. We're in this together.
That being said, what gives you the good confidence in the systems we have in place today?
I feel like one of the things that I feel very good about is, one, of course, how we respond. The support we receive from the administration here at UK, because safety is a priority. When I have ideas about new technology and how we can add to our technology security program, those things are funded. You look at our campus now, we have well over 5,000 cameras on this campus. And since we put those cameras in, it has done a lot to solve crime as well as deter it. So having that security technology piece is probably the number one thing that I see has helped us even more than anything.
If you want students to remember one thing after watching this video, what would that be?
That safety is a shared responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chief, for being here and answering some questions on campus safety.
Thank you.